Hello everybody, my name is Darkula and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about antennas. So the first one I want to point out is as soon as any engineer starts the game, they do start out with a built-in antenna in their suit. If you look at the left hand bottom, you'll see there's J for the helmet, X for your jetpack and 0 or O for your broadcast. Now what this means is if you press O, up to 50 meters away from you, somebody would be able to see you on the HUD. Also, at the same time, if you press U, you can see the broadcast goes on and anybody in this 50 meters would be hearing my voice right now. If I take off the jetpacks, the suits broadcast, it means I have gone dark. People would not be able to see me on the HUD. But it also affects my broadcast, which is one of the things I will be talking about as we go along. So, as you remember last time, I built the solar tower to track the sun, vanilla, on the server, and I've expanded my little base mining station a little bit. I've got turrets up and I have antenna station below. So if I go to my seat, go K menu for my control, go to the antenna, you'll notice a few things. Usually the first thing I do is make sure my broadcast is not too far. The reason for that is 50 kilometers away from me, anybody would now be seeing my antenna on their HUD display. So they would know where I am. Usually I do bring this close into what I would call a working range. So 800 meters away from me, my turrets would still be able to shoot anybody that can detect the antenna, so they will get shot before they can see the info. The other thing that I would like to point out is you see these two, there's antenna, name, and HUD text, stay away. Now if I don't have HUD text on and I get out of my seat, you'll say it just says antenna. Get back into the seat and I tell it show ship name. So if I get out of my seat again, you'll notice now it says mining base. Simple reason is mining base is named, so if I change it to ship name, it will show what the ship is. But at the moment, I just want to say stay away, for example. The next tab you see here is enable broadcasting, disable broadcasting. So broadcasting is off now. I'm only using 4 watts on this antenna. Broadcast is on and went to 3.2 kilowatts. Another thing to keep in mind, if I go to the full 50 kilometers, I'm at 200 kilowatts. So again, it's a thing to consider in regards to your power usage. Again, block on, block off. Antenna is not working. It won't be receiving a signal and won't be broadcasting a signal. So what's the difference between broadcast? Now, if my antenna is off broadcast, and you see on the left hand side here, I have this scout. I can see it. The antenna is still receiving the signal from the scout even though it's off. Of course, as I said, broadcast on. Now I am transmitting. When you are transmitting and you go to remote access, you see there is the remote, the small grid scout on the left hand side. If I go back to control antenna and I say broadcast off, it is there, but you can see the controls are off. I can't do terminal and I can't control it as a block. Simple reason for that is I am not broadcasting. So one of the things to take in consideration when you are planning your base, planning your antennas, is how far away do I need to control something, because I need to set up my broadcast range to that range. So if I'm going to work at something that's a kilometer away, set it up for a kilometer. If you're going to work at something that's 2 kilometers away, set it up for that range. You can go to 50 kilometers, but consider that we are possibly on a server and there's some player versus player aspects. you could be giving away your position. The second thing to take in consideration is, if you remember, the antenna on the main base, which is a large grid antenna, that can transmit up to 50 kilometers away. The max on a small grid is also supposed to be 5,000 kilometers or 5 kilometers. But okay, it looks like it's 50 kilometers at the moment. I'll go with that. Thing to consider also is, if I'm going to be controlling this mining base, or from the mining base to this grid, if I go outside of this range, either with the scout or with the mining base, I'm going to lose control of the scout. I'm going to lose control of the remote. So if the scout is 800 meters, and let's say the scout is 2 kilometers, but my base, the base is, for example, 800 meters, as you can see here. If the remote, the scout, goes beyond this 800 meters, I will lose control of it. Which means that from the base, I would still see this scout transmitting. I will see its signal. But because my base antenna only has 800 meter range, this is 2 kilometers, but I will lose control of it because I can't broadcast information further than the 800 meters. So the next thing we're going to look at is laser antennas. As I said, this antenna has a max of 50 kilometers. But if I look at the horizon, I have a main base 430 kilometers from me, and I want to set up communication to this base. One way could be to put a antenna every 50 kilometers, but again, I would be transmitting my position along this chain of antennas for anybody to fly into its range and discover me. So the option I could have possibly is to use a laser antenna. Now, sometimes people have the idea that normal antennas works like radar, that if I put it max, I would discover anybody in that range. It doesn't work like that. All the antenna does is receives anybody broadcasting. So again, same like the remote. If somebody's antenna is 50 meters like my suit, and I'm 100 meters away from the antenna, even though the normal antenna is 2 kilometers, 10 kilometers, they won't receive the signal. So, laser antennas is line of sight. So from the head to that position, I have to have a clear line of sight, nothing in the way. From here, I'm thinking maybe the antenna, the turret is in the way, maybe not. So I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to put my antenna this way around. Actually, interesting fact is, remember, this turret has a larger than, let me just stand by this turret, this antenna, it's got a 3x3 grid. So actually, even though visually this antenna is looking over the turret, block build wise, collision block wise, this is opaque. This turret is physically in the way of that laser antenna. I could get frustrated and wonder why my antenna is not doing a connection, making a connection to my base. It would simply be this block is in the way. Same thing applies for solar panels. They have a grid block picture larger than themselves, and walkways. So any block that visually could be looking small does not mean that practically speaking it's out of the way. So now I have to think of, where will I put this laser antenna? From here, that should be clear. This one is behind. It looks to be in the right direction. So I will place my laser antenna this side. Back to the seat. Control panel and let's look at our laser antenna. Now the thing I like to do is designate a name that tells me where or what this laser antenna is doing. So for example, this would be from the mining station to relay 1. Now I'll explain why I'm going to do a relay first a little bit later. Next thing to notice, there's a 50 kilometer max on this antenna. If we look at our base, that's 429 kilometers away. But I'm going to put a relay halfway. So let's say conservatively, I want to do a 250 kilometer range just to make sure that my laser antenna reaches the other one. You could put in the GPS coordinates, you could be doing everything right, but this range being too short, the antennas will not connect. The reason that antennas are not by default doing a specific range is this power output, or the input, the power it's using, depends on the range. You could literally go infinite. But when the antenna is trying to connect, it will use a lot of power. And that's basically the reason I want to use a relay halfway towards my main base, because my station is not infinite power. I want to use power that's within the range of this station. So I'm going to do a relay. The second thing that you're going to need with your laser antenna is its position. Unlike the normal antennas, which will automatically detect and transmit information, laser antennas are stealthy. People will not know you are transmitting. They won't see the antenna. But that also means it has to connect point to point, specifically GPS to GPS. I get my GPS, copy my coordinates. So that is copied to my clipboard. I go to GPS and I say new from clipboard, and my antenna will show up. Don't have to keep it up, but just for now, if you look at your laser antenna, you see that new GPS is right bang in the middle. Let's get back in control. So just in general, I don't want to have too many GPSs around, but I need to have it positioned. So I have set it up 250 kilometers, not to use too much power. You'll see what happens in a bit. I have a copy of the coordinate. I haven't got the next antenna's location yet, so I can't do something about that at this moment. So let's go to the relay. And through the magic of editing, I have arrived where I would like to set up my relay. As you can see, 214 kilometers from the mining base and 214 kilometers from the main base, so smack bang in the middle. Usually what I would be doing on a server is I would be setting up a solar mast again. You don't have to do a solar mast every time for each and every relay. The simple reason that I want to do it is I don't want to run around with uranium to power up this relay every time, once a day, every day, or however many times it takes for me to power this station, this relay station. So again, I'm going to try and to have it as a power independent station. If you want to know how to do solar tracking on a vanilla server, you are more than welcome to have a look at my previous video. But maybe I've struck it rich. I have enough resources to not to worry about it and have a nuclear reactor running on my base. Second thing, I'm not going to put up a safe zone on this station. So what I would do is I would set up a little bit of defense by placing a cargo there and a cargo there, and then just flesh it out a little bit. Again, remember the turrets, antennas, all those kind of things can get in the way of your antenna with this line of sight for your laser antenna. And also, I will place my turrets a little perpendicular so it won't get in the way of my rotating solar tower. So my basic layout of what I would like to have for a relay station. Gonna put up a laser, and as you can see, I do try to line it up, the base itself, the relay station I'm building, as close as possible to the directions that I would like these antennas to be facing to do the connection. Not a must, you can use the interface to control and to interact with your antennas, but I also like to work from a control seat, so I'm going to put on a control seat. Again, K menu. Now, I have to be careful to make sure that I name, of course, there's going to be 2 laser antennas on this one, so I have to be careful how I name it again. So this one's job is going to be the relay to mining base. And this one is going to be laser antenna relay to main base. Again, right off the bat, I want it to be 250 kilometers. So just to make sure I don't forget to set this up later. And make sure it's 250 kilometers. So I've got my power coming in, but I've got the small reactor giving my power, so I should be okay power-wise. Now, relay to mining base. I have on the GPS my first laser antenna, mining station to relay. Copy to clipboard. Control panel, relay to mining base, paste coordinates. So you can see it's now trying to rotate into that direction, trying to establish a connection. But there is a small problem. That other laser antenna does not know where this laser antenna is. So back to the magic of editing. I will have to jump back and tell the mining base where this antenna is. Back at our mining base. Get on control seat, control panel, and relay. So just to make sure, relay to mining base, copy to clipboard, control panel, paste coordinates. Now you can see it's rotating for that direction. It will hopefully be connecting soon, and it's connected. Now you can see here known receivers, and I want this to be a permanent one. It's not going to be traveling around, so it won't need to reposition. Permanent connection and known receivers. LA relay to mining base, and if you look at the text in front of me now, you can see it has got double equal connection is established, and it will give you a little bit of error shooting, troubleshooting to find out what your laser antennas are doing. As it happens, on that relay there's a second laser antenna, and that laser antenna is of course not doing anything, so it's idle. So what I'm going to do now, again, power of editing, I'm going to jump to the relay, take that second antenna's coordinates, and go to my main base. So let's call this my main base. We know we have a relay 215 kilometers away from us, and we are going to try and connect from the mining base to the relay to the station. So once again, I'm going to do a laser antenna. Again, the same considerations. There's a turret, there's a turret. I can't do a connection from this side across this turret. It will be blocking my line of sight. So I will put it here. And again, just my personal preference, I do like to work from a seat. but it's not a must. You don't have to. So in the seat game menu, there's a laser antenna. This laser antenna again, I'm going to name from main base to relay 1. And automatically 250 kilometers. Copy my coordinates, go to GPS, new from clipboard, and I know where it is, because you're going to need this location again. So antenna setup, I need to go to the relay. And we're back at the relay. And now what I have to do is, okay, my laser antenna relay to main base. I want it to connect to main base to relay 1. So I need that connection. Copy to clipboard, relay to main base, base coordinates, searching for a laser, rotating towards, trying to establish connection, connected. And again, I want it to be a permanent connection. So as you can see, we went from 200 kilowatts up to 2.15 megawatts of power. If I look at my small reactor, again, it's creative, so it's not drawing the power relatively accurately. But you can see this antenna is drawing 2.15, this one is drawing 2.15, so overall I would need a minimum of 2.3 megawatts on this station. So either I would be refilling my small reactor the whole time, or I would be using the solar panels to supply power to my base. Alright, so relay is set up. If I go OK, remote access, I see the relay station, I see the main base, I see the mining base, and the scout. And we'll play around with the scout in my next video about remote control. But there is one more thing I would like to show you. So I'm going to jump again to the main base. And we're back. So let's double check. Remote access. Yes, I'm seeing my stations. And something just broadcast in range of my antennas. So everything seems honky-dory. But as I said, the grid needs to have a clear line of sight, the laser antenna. And unfortunately, a safe zone is opaque. Remember, if you're standing outside a safe zone, you can't see into it. These things won't matter. If I now go to remote access, I lost my connection. The reason for that is the safe zone is opaque. It means you cannot see with a laser antenna through it. So if you are thinking of using a laser antenna from within a safe zone, you have to go to a plan B. What I would, for example, do is, and also remember with a safe zone, any block, you can't have the antenna facing out. You might think, okay, I'm going to be clever, I'm going to have a block going all the way and have the laser antenna just peek outside of the safe zone. As far as the safe zone is concerned, the laser antenna is inside the safe zone. It is connected to a grid inside the safe zone. It is inside the safe zone. So even if it's visually outside, it will not have a connection. So actually I'm going to build a second relay. And on this relay, I'm going to add a antenna. So instead of having a laser antenna here, I'm going to have an antenna to be able to connect to the base via normal antennas. So not going to need this anymore, unfortunately, because it is unable to look outside of my safe zone. Okay, antenna, main base. To play it safe, I'm gonna make it a kilometer. It should be able to reach that antenna out there. I'm going to set up this antenna pretty much the same way. Antenna relay 2, and I'm going to bring it down to the same 1000 kilometer. And let's see, relay 2 to relay 1. Now we might be lucky. If you remember, I have the relay to main base. Now technically speaking, this has to be accurate. We might, which one did I choose? Let's double check. Relay to main base, copy to clipboard, control panel, connect to these coordinates, place connect. Right, we're not lucky. So new from clipboards, we have this relay to relay 1, and magic of editing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, back at the relay 1. Okay, let's just double check. I need that antenna. Control panel, relay to main base, paste coordinates. There we go. And we are again connected. So on my access list, which is all the blocks we can access through radio broadcast, we have the relay I'm on, relay 2, which is at the main base itself, the mining base, and that small grid floating near it. So, as I said, things to keep in mind, things to consider. If you're going to have a safe zone around a laser antenna, you need to make sure that you have a way to broadcast outside of it, and that would be a normal antenna. Laser antennas need line of sight. Laser antennas are stealthy. Nobody can see this connection. You see there is not a broadcast point around these two antennas. But I'm connected across a 430 kilometer range. Second thing to keep in mind and remember, normal antennas broadcast and receive. So a normal antenna, you will receive any signal that walks, flies, drives into its own broadcast range. You will see it on the HUD display. If you are broadcasting up to 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, anybody moving into that range will see your HUD. Will see your antenna on the HUD display. More than that, because this is now a chain, the antenna at the main base will see everything on this mining base. So because the little scout ship is close to the mining base, when you are at the main base, its antenna comes up, which means anybody at within broadcast range of any of your antennas will also see all the antennas information received across this whole line. But another interesting fact is, now that I've got this connection going, and as you can see on the left hand bottom, I'm doing a voice broadcast from this station. I am able to talk 215 kilometers away at the mining station, and of course anybody at the main station would also be hearing my voice right now in range of the broadcasting antennas. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that was informative and useful. If you have any further questions, please ask down in the comments if I didn't explain something nicely, or you have a question or two extra. So on that note, thank you very much everybody for listening and watching today. Have a wonderful time.